Welcome to Wayne County Connection. I'm your host, Micheal Sweigart. Thanks for joining me again as we promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. As always, I encourage you to do your part. Get connected and do what you can to make Wayne County a great place to work, live, and play. And of course, you can start at our website, waynet.org/cc. There you can find links to our guests today and the events and agencies that they're promoting, as well as past programs and the guests that we had then. Also on our website, you'll find links to watch the show streaming online or to promote the on-demand version of our program to be shared with those who don't have Comcast service, because this is a cable program aired on WGTV, and we're really thankful for that. But we want to share this program with as many people as we can to promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. And we can do that through the on-demand service, and we really appreciate you sharing that when you can. Always visit the waynet.org calendar for events and opportunities, and if you have an event in our community that's going on, you can promote that on WayNet as well. We encourage you, again, do your part, get connected. And today we're encouraging you to get connected with Cambridge City, and we have as our guests today two people who are representing various parts of activities that are going on in Cambridge City there in Western Wayne County. We'd like you to help welcome them to the show. So we have Karen Bays-Winslow and Beth Leisure, and well, ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, I like to have our guests start by making the connection with our viewers, and I'm going to just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself. So, Karen Bays-Winslow, you're the director at the Cambridge City Public Library and a recent immigrant to
I am a recent immigrant, yeah.
But tell us a little bit more about yourself, and for those people that maybe even in Cambridge City haven't met you yet.
Okay. Well, I grew up in Oklahoma, and I grew up in Oklahoma City, big city, and I've always lived and worked in big cities. And in fact, I worked in a city of 30,000 called Shawnee, Oklahoma, and I thought that was a small town. To me, it was a small town, and I had to make some adjustments. But I had a dream to one day be a director of a small town public library, and I thought that would be my retirement job, but I got a job offer a couple of years ago, and my husband has family in the area, so I decided to move here, and I am so glad that I did. It was the best move of my life. It's such a wonderful place to live and work.
Oh, that's great. And I'll ask you a little bit more. As I mentioned in the prep for the show, we have this tendency to think the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, but to you, Wayne County is the other side, and our grass is pretty green. What do you think about the events here and the activities in Wayne County?
Well, I guess the first thing that struck me when I came here was the friendliness. I opened a bank account, and the second time I walked into the bank, I was greeted with, "Well, hi, Karen. How are you?" And I was not used to that. I was not.
Look over your shoulder to see if there was somebody walking behind you.
I was not known by. I was afraid. I was thinking they were going to invite me for dinner. So there's the friendliness, which is really, really remarkable. People are. There's a little bit of sort of northern initial reserve, but once you get past that, they're so warm and welcoming, and I just felt embraced by the community.
Well, one thing that makes the community a warm place is the activities that are going on at the Chamber. And our other guest is Beth Leisure, and she's the board chair of the Cambridge City Chamber of Commerce. Beth, for those of you who may not know that you are a public figure and involved quite deeply, but who may not have met you yet, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm the opposite of Karen. I was raised in Pershing, and I've been in the Western Wayne area my entire life. And I became involved in the chamber because I have businesses in Cambridge, and I just kind of became more and more and more involved, and actually just it grew into a passion for our area to see things prosper and to create an atmosphere of everyone being all on the same page and getting along and working together. Because when you're in a small town, you don't need a lot of different groups all on different pages. You need to all go in the same direction. So, and I'm a member of I'm actually the board chair of the Wayne County Tourism Bureau, and I am on the board of the EDC, and we also have a Main Street group in Cambridge City. that I'm a part of.
So a lot of organizations that you have your hands in that are doing their part to promote Wayne County as a great place to work, live, and play. And I visited your website and prep for the show and noticed that Cambridge City Chamber of Commerce says Cambridge City is a better place to work, live, and play. And I believe that that's you're making Cambridge City a better place, not that you're necessarily walking around with your noses up.
Quality of place is important too, and I feel like Cambridge has a lot to offer. We have a lot of assets like our library, and we have our own grocery, our own newspaper, we have restaurants that people come from all over to eat at, so it's a good place to be.
Well, that was one of the questions that I had when I was thinking about you and the agency on the show today was, what do you do to promote Western Wayne County, specifically to get Richmond area residents to go west, as it were, or people who are visiting to actually stop at Cambridge City?
It amazed me when I opened up an antique store how many people are antiquers from all over the country, from all over the world. You drive through our town any day and there are license plates from all states and even people from out of the country that come just to shop our town. So between the food and the restaurants and all that, it sells itself, but it's become an antique destination. And also it's a good halfway point between Indy and Dayton for people to meet. And the Tourism Bureau does an amazing job of advertising Antique Alley specifically. And the Chamber has events and things to draw people to town. We have a big fall festival, but the one coming up soon is on November 30th is our Cambridge City Christmas Wonderland. We have lights in our park and we have a whole event that night of all kinds of things for people to do. It's a great hometown feel that night. Everybody just kind of pours into the downtown and it's a fun time.
And that'll be actually occurring the first weekend that our program is on the air. And so we want to encourage you to visit Western Wayne, visit Cambridge City there on November 30th for their Winter Wonderland. That'll be a great opportunity to see what's going on in Cambridge and maybe to find some destinations to go back and visit at another time. Yeah.
And those lights will stay on, excuse me, but those lights will stay on every Friday and Saturday night through December.
Okay. That's great. So it'll be a way to drive through even if it's cold and snowy, which sometimes the snow makes the winter lights so much more enjoyable.
Pretty.
Yeah, it's just sometimes gorgeous. It's, I've been to various light displays and it's almost awe-inspiring. So yeah, it's really fun. There are other events that go on throughout the year as well that the Chamber of Commerce promotes or is involved in. And what ways can people find out about those? I mean, do they just have to show up in Cambridge City and hope something's going on?
We have a website that's cambridgecityindiana.org, all the words spelled out. And they can always call the phone number that's on the screen and also like us and follow us on Facebook.
Okay. And in the summer, you have the big festival, Canal Days, and that's really to promote Cambridge City. And we don't really think of a lot currently of canals as being a important part of our transportation or commerce means, but it was in times past. And Cambridge City in particular has built on that. The state has a whitewater canal driving tour that goes through Cambridge City. And so
our Canal Days has actually been happening for 48 years. We just finished our 48th one. So that name came up with a long time ago, and it's just stuck, you know. And we have a small mural of the canal, what it might have looked like in the place where it actually was. So, and there's on the third floor of the Vinton House, there's actually a small museum with some boards that you can walk around and read about the history of the canal.
And you mentioned the Vinton House, and that's one of several historic buildings in Cambridge City. Does the Vinton House or the other historic buildings draw tourism as well?
They do, and we've also have some historic murals on some of our buildings, and it's a place for people to come and say, my store's directly across from the single G mural, and there's not a day goes by I don't see someone taking a picture of it. So
the single G mural is that enormous 3-story almost painting of famous pacer from Cambridge City area. And speaking of history, that kind of ties back into the library. There are a lot of events going on at the library. One of them is historic in nature. The Overbeck Museum is in the library. But tell us a little bit more about the Cambridge City Library for those that don't know and what's going on there.
Okay. Well, the Cambridge City Library started out a long time ago, but in 2011, the community overwhelmingly supported a move to renovate an old Ford dealership and turn it into a new library. So we have a beautiful, very new library in terms of, I mean, a lot of libraries around the state have much older buildings. So we're very fortunate that the community supported that, and a lot of people worked hard on that to make it happen. We have a lot of events coming up for the holidays. We have the second event in a Gifts from the Home series with Alicia Criswell, who is a Purdue Extension outreach person. She's a nutrition expert, and she's going to talk about water bath canning and pressure canning on December 11th at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And we're really looking forward to that. She's done a lot of programs for us in the past that have been well attended and really high quality programs. And then on December 18th, Wednesday at 6 p.m., we're having our Christmas Craft Palooza for people of all ages, and we're really excited about that. There will be stories and probably about 3 or 4 different crafts that they can do, and we will have Mrs. Claus attending.
Ah, Mrs. Claus at the library.
And I wanted to just say one thing about the Cambridge City Light Festival that's coming up. I have small children, and if you are anywhere near where you can get to the lights in Kreitz Park in Cambridge City, and as Beth said, they're up for a long time. They have dinosaurs. So I have small boys, so you need to know that you must come see the dinosaurs.
They have dinosaurs
Yes.
at the park.
Yep.
That's interesting. You mentioned a couple of activities that are going on in December at the library. And one of the questions that I like to ask people who are involved with library when they show is, what is your take on why libraries are still relevant? I know that with the proliferation of the internet, and you can get anything at a moment's notice, you know, a lot of even school-age children are apt to Google it on their phone right away, but there is still a relevancy, and what's your take on that?
Well, we have found across the country that library usage has not gone down because of the advent of the internet. In fact, it's really healthy across the nation, and I really think we're relevant. Maybe first as community centers. We're a place where everyone can come and share ideas. We try to bring people together for lots of different purposes. We have the Kiwanis meet there, for example, and we have businesses can have meetings in our meeting room space. We are hoping to help the U.S. Census recruit people to work for them, just to provide them some space to recruit. And we try to encourage civics, like we're hoping to encourage voter registration. And we, as you know, we have a big election coming up, and we want everyone's voice to be heard, and so we want to mobilize for that. But I would say the main reason libraries are relevant is to encourage lifelong learning and lifelong reading. And we try to start that out early. We've expanded our story times to Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 a.m. And that's for toddlers and preschoolers, but you can bring your babies and older children if you like. And then on Thursdays after school, we have Pause for Reading, where you can read to a sympathetic dog. So for kids who need a little bit of practice or who don't feel comfortable reading out loud, who better to read to than a dog? So that's Thursdays at 3:15, and you can just call the library for that.
Okay. And so a variety of activities to get young people particularly interested in, involved in, and active in reading, including reading aloud. I was I have a son who's 13, and we were talking about the importance of reading and the importance of being able to remember things by adding the vocal component to repeating it. And so it's one thing to look at a word on a page and to read it in your head, but it's another thing to say it out loud. And so the reading out loud has benefits beyond just understanding the story.
I think that could enhance your retention of the information and help you understand it better. If you have to, it probably connects different neurons that I don't know about. But.
So I'm curious though about this, the reading dog.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of interesting.
Yes.
My dog isn't very interested in television at all, but he does seem to like it when we read aloud.
Yes.
How did that process come about? How did the dog become part of the library staff?
Well, we have a wonderful lady in the community, Jill King, who has been training dogs for a lot of years and to assist people who are blind. And when they're retired, oh, I said that wrong. It's not Jill King. It's Jill. I'm so sorry. I'm blanking out on her name, but she's wonderful. Jill Moore. Anyway, she shares her retired leader dogs with us, and so they're reading to children, and or they pretend a little bit. They'll sometimes put their paws on the page, and yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah. What other ways can people get involved? Or what are the membership requirements? I mean, who can check out a book or other materials that are available at the Cambridge City Library? How does someone go about doing that part of?
Okay. Yeah. Anyone who lives in our service area, which is our township and the township that Milton is in, can get a library card. And also, our township includes part of the area around Dublin, but not Dublin itself, because Dublin has their own library.
Okay.
So.
And so anybody that lives in those areas can check out a book or other materials from the Cambridge City Library. What if they're a Dublin city resident or a Richmond city resident or one of the other communities in our county? Can they use the library as well?
We can get a reciprocal card. We have a reciprocal agreement for a lot of the area libraries who are part of our Evergreen system.
Okay.
And we even have a reciprocal agreement with the Morrison Reeves Public Library. So we can just call them and make sure that they have a library card there, and they are welcome to get one with us as well. So, and
that reciprocal agreement then also allows Cambridge City Public Library card holders to go to the other libraries.
Yes, well, yes, that's right. And you can, in fact, we have a lending system throughout the state of Indiana. So even though we have a huge number of books on our shelves, you're not limited to that. You can have access to any of the libraries in the state that are part of the Evergreen system.
So not only like you said, thousands of volumes that are available in the building there on the west side of Cambridge City,
Yes.
but also throughout the community.
Yes, and in fact, even beyond that, beyond print books, we are also part of a statewide consortium that the state library supports to provide e-books and e-audios and e-magazines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you have to do is download an app on your phone or your device called Libby. And once you do that, you will be able to access a lot of ebooks and e-audios and just start reading.
So access to the library 24/7.
Yes.
And,
That's part of our relevancy. We're trying to keep up with the digital age. So,
right.
yeah.
And say somebody's interested in that, and I'm thinking of a lot of populations, first of all, younger people who are much more prone to use a device than actual physical books, although I still think there's a great value in being able to turn a page.
Yeah.
And then people with limited mobility who might not have the ability to get out and about
Yes.
as frequently might benefit from those devices, but if particularly an older person might not be as familiar with digital technology, do you help them get started with using the devices?
We do. You can just come in and we will help you find it on your Play Store or your App Store, and we'll help you get started using it. Sure, that's no problem. And we even have, if you come on Wednesdays or Fridays, we have a retired business teacher, Jody Johnson, who is a computer guru, and she's a big advocate of the Libby app. She does a lot of ebook reading, and we don't measure demographic stats in this library about who is using our ebooks and e-materials, but in the last library I worked at in Oklahoma, we looked at that information, and it is surprising how many people over 60 and even over 80 are using ebooks. It was almost greater than younger populations. So I think some of the things you mentioned about mobility and you can't just, you don't want to get into the library every day maybe or every 2 weeks, so,
Yeah.
but you can log into your device.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in school, one of my teachers was very big on books, and he said if it's in a magazine, it might be relevant. If it's in a book, it's probably been vetted a little bit more because there's a little bit longer time for publishing, and it's probably got a little bit more value. In today's culture, we have things posting up on the internet, 5 seconds after it happens,
Yeah.
almost, and there is a lot of information out there, not all of which is reliable. And is it still true today that books are a more reliable source of information, perhaps, than some other sources?
I guess it depends on what sort of information you're looking for. Yeah, definitely, they've been vetted. A lot of the academic journals have been vetted by a committee of your colleagues that have looked at your research and have said, oh yes, this is true and this has been replicated, and then they'll publish it in the science or medical journal. You don't get, that's not the kind of thing you get off the shelves, but you have access to all of those sorts of journals which are more authoritative through our Inspire database that the State Library makes available, and everyone in Indiana has access to that. It's at inspire.gov, and there's a number, it's not just journal articles, there's also access to newspapers, Medline, educational resources. It's a big database worth looking into.
Okay, and maybe that's news to some of our viewers. I've heard of Inspire a couple of times, but I forget about it when I'm thinking of sources and so forth. So that's another reason for people to get in touch with their local librarian.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay. Speaking of resources, again, I want to touch base back with you, Beth, about resources for the chamber and for people that are in Cambridge City. And one of the things that I was thinking about was, what are the membership requirements or benefits for the chamber, specifically the Cambridge City Chamber of Commerce?
Well, anyone can be a chamber member if they just care about our area. It's mainly made up of businesses, but we also have some individuals who are members, and it's a great way to cross-network with your other organizations, like our Neighborhood Watch people and the Main Street. We all kind of go to each other's meetings to keep track of what's going on, and it's very inexpensive. We're a small town chamber that's been here since 1948. So our purpose is just to create a good business atmosphere. And one of the taglines we use to people is, what a great place it is to work, play, and live. So.
Okay. So do you have to be a resident in Cambridge City or have a business operating in Cambridge City?
No, you don't have to.
Okay.
You just have to care about the area and want to see things happen. It's a place, if you're a business, sometimes people say, well, what's the chamber going to do for me? But what are you going to do for the chamber also? Because it's a way to get involved, and it's a way to network and not just sit back and wait for, we bring people to town. It's your job to get them in your door. So.
Well, as we come to the close of our program, I would like to give you an opportunity to make a final connection with our viewers. And so I'm going to ask you again, let's talk about the ways that people can get connected. And Karen, I'm going to start with you. And how can people get connected with the Cambridge City Public Library?
Okay, well, you can go to our webpage at ccitypl.org. One of the best ways to know about our events that are happening is to find us on Facebook, Cambridge City Public Library, and we have a lot of events posted there. Or you can follow us on Instagram or Twitter.
Wow, all the social media.
Yeah.
And your building is located, again, for those who may not know.
Okay, at 600 West Main in Cambridge City, Indiana. It's at the far west side of town. So.
Okay. And Beth, the Chamber of Commerce, how can they get connected with you?
You can follow us on Facebook or our website, like I mentioned. You can call and ask. We have a lot of events all year that we can always use help with, and we partner with the schools on a few things. We have a mac and cheese contest in the spring that's becoming quite a big ordeal, and different things like that all year, the fireworks. And so there's a lot of ways we can put people to work if they want to help and get involved. And we have quarterly meetings. We have an annual dinner and then 3 other quarterly meetings that are usually a lunch meeting. And we try to use people's time wisely and have some good speakers or, relevant information for businesses to come to. So.
All right. Beth Leisure, Board Chair of the Cambridge City Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for coming and sharing about what's happening there.
Thank you for having me.
Karen Bays-Winslow, the Director of the Cambridge City Public Library. It's been a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Ladies, we wish you great success and have a happy holiday season over there and a great 2020 for both of your organizations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we encourage you to get involved as well. Visit these agencies in Western Wayne County, share about their activities with your friends and family, either locally or away. And you can do that by visiting our website, waynet.org/cc, where we'll have links to these individuals and the agencies that they represent. And you can also visit the website, waynet.org/calendar, for the events that they may be talking about. I'm Micheal Sweigart, your host. On behalf of Jane Holman, our producer, the staff here at WGTV, and the rest of us, happy holidays, and thanks for watching. We'll see you next month.